Hey everybody, you are tuned in to Hanging with Here to Zen, the show that is a place for people who love all kinds of music. We really hope you enjoy your time with us today. Make sure you hit subscribe if you already haven't, and hit that notification bell to be kept up to date. We would love to hear from you over on our social media platforms, so just search Here to Zen and you'll find us. Lastly, could you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify or Google Podcasts, or wherever you're going to be tuning in from? Those reviews help other people to find us, so we appreciate the reviews and the support. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hey Chuck, what's cracking, man?
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Where are you coming to me from today?
I'm in Troy, Michigan, just outside of Detroit.
Awesome. It's been a bloody long time since I've seen you.
Yeah, man, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, I'm going to say, well, besides the ESP tours, it would have been one of the last Coop tours.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, wow, fuck, that's a long time ago. So
Jeez, we need to get back down to Australia, bro.
we do. So congrats on Road. It's fucking amazing album, man. Yeah, to me, it's a cross between the old school Coop albums and Dirty Diamonds. So I know,
All right, cool.
Dirty Diamonds is from your time frame as well, which to me was
Eyes of Alicecooper, Dirty Diamonds.
Like, would you agree that like starting from Dirty Diamonds, Coop sort of started to go back to a bit more of that 70s vibe?
Well, I think that's always been the direction we've been trying to push them. I think, and he just naturally goes there. I think this time around on this particular Go on the Road album, it was definitely the approach of Alice is to make it just a live rock and roll record. So with that in mind, we're all big fans of the early Alice Cooper records, and rock is just naturally what we do. So it was really, really easy for us to just start throwing out material and just coming at them with some great stuff. Then it was up to Bob Ezrin and Coop to kind of to filter out what it is what they wanted the record to sound like, and of course it's going to sound like a rock and roll 70s album. I mean, that's our vibe, So when you're going in recording with Alice Cooper, can't help but, at least for myself anyway, is try to put in some of those classic 70 bass lines that Dennis Dunaway was so famous for.
Yeah, sure. And you've got 5 co-writes on the album.
Yeah.
What was the song that you think you sort of contributed the most in the writing form to?
It'd probably be Welcome to the Show. That particular tune is one that I'd written from top to bottom, and it instantly had Alice Cooper all over it. As soon as we had a meeting with Bob Ezrin, we kind of talked about what he was looking for as far as the record goes and what he was hoping it would sound like. And as soon as he was talking, I just had this idea in my mind. So as soon as I hung up the phone, that's what I recorded directly after my conversation with Bob. And I think I had the working title was We Are the Sick Things or something like that. But Bob, that was pretty much a song that came 20 30 minutes after I talked to Bob about what he wanted the record to sound like.
Now, Bob Ezrin, everyone knows him. He's been there since the beginning with Coop. He's done Pink Floyd, he's done Kiss.
Yep.
Everyone said he's quite the hard taskmaster, but it seems that it's a seamless marriage between him and Alice. How do you find working with Bob?
Yeah, Bob he is a taskmaster. He's hard and for a good way. I mean, we're there for a reason. We got our instruments on. We're in the studio, and let's get to work. And I think some of that comes with. I don't know if he wants us overthinking things, so he just kind of wants it like, let's just go get it together. Like he kind of wants to keep it fresh and real. And sometimes it can get a bit grueling if you're trying to figure out parts. So we'd all worked together, the band, obviously for quite a few years. So we knew we could lean on each other, like a family does. And we were in the studio, and I knew that everybody would, kind of pick their parts that they knew that they would do live, sort of. So, Bob Bob would let us do our thing, but when it came down to it, he really was adamant about, let's get this thing, let's go. So everybody would just put their head down and make it happen. So we didn't want to spend, time messing around. It was supposed to be a live rock and roll record, so that's what we are known for. So they think he did a really great job of keeping that spirit alive on the record.
Does that mean there wasn't a lot of pre-production? Like, a lot of bands go in and do months of pre-production. Did you guys just get in, stand in a circle?
Hardly any. Yeah. I mean, we had, I think, a day of just kind of going over each song that we kind of, that was new to the guys. I would bring them in a song. Ryan would bring in his tune, Tommy, Nita, that as well. And, but that was really it. There was very little pre-production. What you hear on that record is what you get, aside from just a couple of little guitar overdubs here and there. But for the most part, we just went in there, learned the song, and then banged it out.
Do you think that's a lost art form with, Pro Tools and Auto Tune, just to go stand in a room and just hit the record button and see what happens, for want of a better word?
I think it's an art form. I don't think it's necessarily a lost art form. I think it's the way we approach this record. I can't speak for anybody else. I know that there's several different ways to make a record. This just happened to be a way we were really used to making an album, and it was a way that we wanted to make the Road record sound a certain way.
Now, you played on all tracks except Baby Please Don't Go, and you got subbed in by just an up-and-comer called Roger Glover from Deep Purple. So that's a pretty good sub to have. How does he sit on your list of bass players?
Oh, he's right up there. Roger's a really dear friend of mine, and I saw him a couple of weeks after that, and I said, so it looks like he ended up replacing some of my bass parts, huh? And he was like, I had no idea what song he didn't know what was happening, But Roger and I go way back, and if there's anybody that's gonna, play bass on this album, and I would love for it to be him, and it was. And he's a dear friend of mine, and somebody that I admire very much as a bass player and as a human being. And sometimes that happens. I think as songs develop in the studio, there's when the vocals get put on and things start to get stacked, you're going to need certain things. And at the time, Bob was working with the Deep Purple guys, and it made the most sense to get him to get this thing done the way he was hearing it right then and there. And we had talked about that, and obviously knowing that it was Roger Glover was obviously an honor. So,
and people don't really realize that Bob Ezrin, when he replaces someone on an album, it's not for the sake of that he doesn't like the person. It's a job to him. He's a finished product in his mind, and he wants to get there.
Like I said, beginning of this interview, there's tons of ways to make an album, and that's just what we were doing. We went in there to make the best possible Alice Cooper record we were going to make, and to be part of it any way we possibly can. How we can contribute artistically is always my approach. So depending upon how we're making a record, if we're doing it, just separate tracks, and we've all made records that way as well. Yep. So this particular one, I applaud Bob and the guys for getting it done the way that we did it. We definitely hammered it out.
Yeah. Now, not to scare you, but it is your 20th anniversary with the Coop Band.
Yeah.
Could you imagine 20 years ago that you'd still be doing this?
Yeah. I mean, I imagined it as a young kid, in high school. It was what I wanted to do. It was very easy for me to imagine that this would be my life. I think that's sort of where it all stems from, is an imagination. I've been very fortunate to play with the best in the business, from Ronnie James Dio to Alice Cooper, and I think for me it's been a real rock and roll experience, if you will. Alice, true professional, and we've toured the world. The guy loves what he does, and there's no signs of stopping anytime soon.
Did you play golf before 2003?
No. I mean, you know, when we needed another excuse to go out drinking, sure, we would go crack the balls around, you know, but it wasn't until after I got into this band is when the golf obsession started, you know.
Well, a lot of those 80s bands, back in the day probably still think it's the 80s, whereas you guys have developed and you've got a new
Yeah.
addiction, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, yeah. I'm also a massive motorcycle enthusiast. I have a couple of bikes. I build bikes, so I've got some real nice outdoor hobbies.
Excellent. Now, you've recently finished up your run with Motley and Def Leppard. You were
Yeah,
originally going to be a part of the package down here. It was highly rumored, but that didn't come to fruition. Um,
yeah,
what is the plans for the Coop Band in Australia?
yeah. I mean, I heard the same things from you guys, and we were really looking forward to that. We love going to Australia and playing. I mean, you guys just are some of the best audiences. You know, we did the firefight there with Queen, and what a great experience that was. You know, by the way, I think we were the only band in Australian history. I don't know that this could be true. I don't know, maybe anywhere, but we had played at the arena, headlined with Alice Cooper and your boys there from Australia. Oh my gosh,
Airborne.
Airborne, exactly. So Airborne, Alice Cooper. After that arena show, we went to Frankie's Pizza, and we did a fun set with me and the guys there, Ryan and Tommy and Glenn. Played a set there, and then the next day we played the stadium.
Yep.
So within 24 hours, we played an arena, a club, and a stadium.
And unfortunately, we'll have to find a new club for you to play in now that Frankie's is gone.
Yeah, I know, man. Frankie's was awesome, and we tore the roof off that place. And I've had the honor of hanging out there several times and jamming there. It was a good time. But yeah, we I don't know what's next for Australia, but you know, you guys are close to us as far as our rock and roll fans go, and I know that the touring there is always in the mix.
You're out with Zombie at the moment.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah,
this is like a big brother, little brother situation as far as I'm concerned with the theatrical rock.
yeah,
Um, who's going on first? Is it Rob?
Alice.
Alice?
Rob's
Yep.
headline. Yeah, so it's Filter, Ministry, Alice, and Rob. Yeah.
That's a massive package for the US fans.
It's huge, man. I'm a massive Rob Zombie fan. Just love his music, love his vibe. That guy's mind is on another level. His stage show is insane. Production is incredible. You know, you get Alice Cooper before them with just that long history of music, and totally two different theatrical rock bands. Sure, we know Rob loved Alice growing up, but there's not a lot of similarities there as far as I'm concerned. It's just a guy with his approach to
Yep.
theatrical rock and roll, and but different sounds completely. Ministry, I'm just a massive fan of their band. Their sound is insane. It's so big, and Filter obviously just a hit machine.
Yep.
Good dude. So ticket sales are amazing. It's a great tour to be part of. All the bands are getting along great, and it's definitely, you can go out there and watch any band at any time, and know their songs.
And you've also got a new gig called Killington Pit with Will Hunt from Evanescence. How did that all come to fruition?
Yeah, Will and I go back a long time, man. I've known Will for many, many years. I use Will on some of my songs that I write. I'll send Will tracks, and he'll play some drums on them for me. We started working together during the pandemic, man, and just everybody had some downtime. We had some downtime. And I always figured when the phone rings and it says Will Hunt, man, you answer, and there's going to be something good on the other end. So that's what happened with that, man. So it's been a lot of fun jamming with those guys.
Is there going to be a plan to I know everyone's busy, but will there be plan to do shows?
There's always plans to do. Rock and roll is what we do, man, and it's what we're best at. So, yeah, there's plans for that to tour or shows or what have you, for sure.
And what's the latest from the Beasto camp?
Yeah, man, Beasto's good. We're on fire right now. We're just finishing up our our record and getting everything in line to start releasing that. You know, we were working with Chris Harms from Lord of the Lost over in Germany, and we're really super proud of this record that's coming up. It's just it's very unique sounding, very original sounding. It's a nice way to kind of just celebrate the collection of Beasto Blanco records that are out there now, and it's just it's got so much for everybody. I can't wait for it to come out, and we can get on tour with that as well. You know, Beasto is just another one of those bands that just is just, well, you know, just an onslaught of just rock and roll, just sonically, visually, it's all there. It's good for you. It's like chicken noodle soup, you know.
Exactly. And the other thing is, in a couple of years, it's going to be 20 years since the ESP Australia tour and DVD.
Yeah.
So have you had a chance to chat with that painted face cat about maybe once he retires the makeup back into that again?
No, I love Eric, man. You know what? I think that ESP is always on the back burner for sure for everybody. That was a great band. Bruce and Eric and John and I, we had a lot of fun doing that together. We've all had some great success in the music industry. It would be wonderful to see what we can all put together, and if we all got in the same room again, you know.
And for me, my favorite band that you kind of helped out a bit in the end was Union. You subbed in for Union. What was it like when you did a couple of the Union tours playing Jamie Hunting's bass parts?
Yeah, Jamie's a great bass player as well. Fantastic guy, and just a really, really wonderful musician. That whole band was chock full of great musicians.
Awesome, man. Before I let you go, I've got to ask, as you said, you build your own motorcycles. Have you thought about going down the Brian Johnson route and doing like a TV show about motorbikes?
I would love to. It's definitely a very I'm very passionate about it. I'm learning a lot more about it. It's sort of taken over, if you will.
Yeah.
I'm into it. I would love to do something like that. And I don't know, maybe you want to do a little collaboration or something. You got somebody who's interested?
Oh, look, YouTube's always interested.
I guess you're right, huh?
Yeah. Awesome, Chuck. I really hope we see you in 2024, man.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time, brother. I appreciate
awesome,
it, man.
Everyone, if you haven't already got a copy of Road, get Road. It's like the best Alice Cooper album in 20 years.
Yeah, we're proud of it, man, and we appreciate all your support, man, from myself, Alicecooperband. We would thank you all. Thank you so much.